All right, everyone. Hello, my name is Natalie Vlatko. I'm one of your SIG Docs co-chairs, and this is the SIG Docs bi-weekly meeting for this day, Tuesday, the 14th of November, 2023. You are currently viewing our meeting notes, and several folks who are here attending the meeting today. And I want to note that as this is a SIG meeting from the Kubernetes project, it does mean we abide by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct. So for all folks either in the meeting or in our Slack via PRs and issues, that generally means we want people to be kind to each other and generally collaborative. If you have any issues around code of conduct at any event or in any kind of medium where we communicate and collaborate, we've got information about the code of conduct in our meeting notes. Generally, you can contact conduct@kubernetes.io, and you'll be able to put in any inquiry you like there. You will remain anonymous. Alrighty, we were just speaking about. We were just saying hi, everyone, and a big hello to those that we all saw each other at KubeCon that just happened last week. Given that KubeCon was last week, there also wasn't a PR wrangler. Big apologies to folks waiting on PR reviews, but hopefully this week onwards, we'll get back to some of that regular reviewing. But before we get into that, I wanted to give a shout out to any new contributors that we had on the call and see if anyone wanted to introduce themselves and say hi. Do so in the chat. You can unmute whatever you like. I'll give you a few more seconds. All right. If you wanted to pop up and say hello later, you absolutely can. And you can also do so by adding your name specifically in the agenda itself. That's completely okay. We will happily move on to the next area. So for those who are new maybe, or who don't know the usual bit around here, we just got a couple of reminders to go through around SIG Docs. The first one is that we do something called PR wrangling here in SIG Docs, where every week. Sorry, Nate, you've got your hand up.
Oh, sorry. Once you finish introducing, I've got a question about next week's wrangling. So.
Oh, good, great. So yeah, what we do is something called PR wrangling here, where we generally have one of the approvers who tries to push through PRs and contributions that we're getting in, especially around release, end of release time. This is a really important task. This week's PR wrangler is Divya, and she's being shadowed by, I believe it's Anuj. And if you want to sign up for shadowing a PR wrangler, you can do so at the PR wrangler shift link there. You can see in the agenda, reach out to the wrangler that you do want to shadow. That's the way we go. Next week, it is noted as the no wrangler because it's a US holiday. But Nate, I have a feeling you want to speak about that.
Well, so next week, I'm happy that for the U.S. Thanksgiving to be unshifted, but for the following week, I am indeed for the 26th. I'm actually going to be traveling on the 30th, so I'm only going to be around for about a half a week. So that might be an issue. My apologies for not bringing that up sooner. Also, I'm racking my brain to see if Satyam Soni has reached out to me. I'm not sure if they have, but Xander reached out to me. So we may actually have two shadows. But if it's a short week, I might need to impose on somebody to help out as a senior wrangler on that one, just because the with travel that might be problematic for me. So my apologies. Again, this is part of the reason I'm glad that we're doing these reminders a couple of weeks in advance, so that we can sort of sort through some of these types of upcoming issues.
Yeah, no problem. What we can do, I'm sure we can find a couple other approvers that can help with some of the Slack. It doesn't need to be right now. Maybe if you want to pop it into the SIG Docs maintainers channel, and we can try and find someone who can jump in. That would be really great.
Perfect.
All right. And then approvers, just a note, please know your Wrangler shifts. Obviously, we pop in these kinds of reminders specifically for that reason, so folks know when they've got reviewing shifts coming up. We only have 3 more reviewers actually on shift for the rest of the year after these specific shifts are done. Because of the end of the year, given worldwide holidays, we don't have anyone on shift there. Thanks Ray, for showing that. You can see the last 2 weeks of the year will be blank in terms of shifts, but I'm sure some of us might get the urge to jump in and review a PR or two. All right, I want to go on to the next part of the agenda for release 129. We've got a docs update first. Is the docs person, whoever is giving that update, available to chat now?
Hello, that is me. So the doc status is red. We, of the outstanding docs PRs, we have 2 that have been granted extensions to Friday and Thursday, respectively. All of this is linked correctly. One PR thought it would no longer would require docs due to a lack of user-facing changes, which turned out to not be true. They have been informed that they do indeed need docs. They did not inform us that they thought they didn't need docs until today, the very deadline. We have 2 PRs with no contact from the actual owners at all. They have been contacted via GitHub. They have been contacted via Slack DMs. I have made posts in the SIG that owns the KEPS channels and have not heard back from either of them. Those are the only 2 I'm really worried about. 2 remaining have replied and said that they will indeed meet their deadlines. This isn't particularly atypical for docs at this point in the cycle. The docs deadlines are a little bit soft. They're kind of squishy. We don't have a formalized exception process for docs. So while this isn't unusual or something I'm actually worried about, it is still technically red, so I'm going to call it that. But I'm only worried if the 2 people outstanding have not responded to me by tomorrow, at which point we need to talk about what happens when an enhancement just kind of ghosts docs.
Great, thanks for that update, Kat. And also a big thank you for being very transparent with the status reporting. You know, red doesn't necessarily mean everything's on fire, but it looks like there could be an issue with a couple of folks meeting deadlines, hence the stats around that. Yes. So big thank you for that. In terms of what happens when a docs deadline isn't met, it is part of the, really, as you know, the release checklist that if there is docs needed, they are like, placeholder PRs are there and then they're ready for a review. I have popped into the agenda there that the docs completed and all PRs are reviewed and ready to merge is the date is November 28th. So like you mentioned, squishy, there is a bit of room, but Ray, you've got your hand up if you wanted to comment specifically on that.
Yeah, one is just to, I do suggest to CC the SIG chairs or co-chairs okay, on the message to that SIG Slack channel. Okay. If as a next step into trying to contact of someone to finish those docs.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Yeah, great. That then seems like as much escalation has happened as possible, so to speak, to try and make that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, great, awesome. And then from there we discuss basically, especially if quite a lot of docs or a decent amount of kind of documentation is needed, whether the enhancement actually goes through or not as well. Great.
Thank you. Also, Ray, I addressed the issues with the branch sync if you would like to take a look and throw another approve on it that Tim requested. Thank you.
Nate, you've got your hand up.
Sorry, I should know the answer to this off the top of my head, but I don't. What day is the release happening?
The 5th of December.
5th of December. I'm just looking at, okay, I will actually be traveling. So I normally like to offer my assistance for the web updates, but unfortunately I will not be around. Do you have somebody already scheduled to help with the mechanics of updating the website?
Natalie and I will physically be together that day.
Oh, excellent. Oh, good.
There's that, and also I believe Ray had also previously put his hand up too.
I did, but I might be traveling that day. I'm gonna take a look at
Okay.
my travel schedule. If not, I should have all the videos ready in terms of Netlify actions or tasks to do that day. I think I have like one more to do.
Great. Yeah, but there definitely is a couple of us on the call, and in the same or similar time zone to Kat, interestingly as well, that will be available too for sure. But thank you,
And
Nate, for that.
I will actually be in your time zone.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned because you're traveling,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So
Great.
I will. Hopefully, I'll be available. I'll take a look.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. And yeah, I forgot Kat will be physically together on that day. Okay. All right. Anything else for you from the doc side, Kat, before we move on?
Nope, not at all.
Cool. Thank you. Moving on to comms. And Kristen, I believe you're giving the comms update for today.
Yes, that's correct. So our status is currently yellow. We have the deadline feature blog draft PR deadline of today, and we're doing one more outreach with the CAP owners who had previously indicated they were opting in to make sure they open their draft PRs. And the current status is we have 3 PRs ready for review, 2 PRs placeholders created, 5 opted in with no placeholder created yet. We have good news that our mid-cycle blog PR was merged this morning. So yay. The final blog draft PRs, the link's coming today. We're meeting as a team shortly after this meeting to go over some of the mechanics for that. And then we've started to build out the paragraphs with the main themes in HackMD, and messages went out to each SIG requesting input for those paragraphs. And that is our update.
Great. Thanks, Kristen. Does anyone have any other comments or questions for comms before we move on? Alrighty, thanks so much. Thanks, folks, for super transparent updates once again. Just want to kind of, you know, for the recording, this kind of information is really, really important so that we can make sure that folks who are either on the call or listening are able to jump in and help when needed. So yeah, big thanks to Kat and Kristen for giving us that information and letting us know where our help might be requested if need be. Just noted again, a couple of other release dates. Feature blog is ready for review on November 17th. So that is likely what Kristen and team are kind of working towards right now. And also the docs completed for ready and merge by November 28th. That's also something that we as reviewers and approvers here on this meeting today also should be aware of, that November 28th reviewed and ready to go. That also means, as a general thing, we want to make sure that tech LGTMs are also kind of present there. So reviewers, please note that feel free to request those reviews as soon as they are possible on those specific PRs as well. Okay, moving on to the next part of the agenda. No one has listed any specific issues or PRs that they'd like to discuss, but I just want to make room in case someone has something they'd like to bring up today. All right, taking that as a no, that's great. We can move on to the several discussion points that we have.
I do have
sorry.
one, Natalie.
Yeah, sorry, Tim. Yeah, sorry, I didn't your camera just came on. So yes, please, after you.
So I've been hoping to reshape how we do feature gates, and I'd like to get this. This is a PR that can only really merge just after a release. So if it misses, I have to wait 3 months or 4 months. So there's 2 outcomes here. One outcome is saying, look, this is the wrong implementation, or possibly this is the wrong thing to do. Like the issue shouldn't have been accepted. We were wrong to accept it. But at the moment, I'm in kind of a stasis. I will stick a link in to that thing. I want a decision. Like if the decision is this PR is not good enough, here is what, then that's fine. But I definitely would like a review that's really clear about what needs to happen to move it forward.
Okay, so we'll just wait for you to pop that link either in the agenda or in the chat. Generally a call out for anyone willing to review and or approve or give comment basically on this work. Sooner rather than later is what I'm hearing, because it needs to kind of go live just after a release. Is that correct? You're saying that?
It is, yeah, good summary. And I see Nate has a hand up.
Yeah, I
Nate.
just want to, on the record here, give a +1 to this particular. I think it's a good idea. I think that it's a good implementation of the idea. And if we have in fact agreed that this is a direction to go, I think that this PR sort of answers that issue. It looks like we've had several LGTMs on that already. There's been a lot of work that's gone on in there. And so I'm not entirely sure how to unstick it, other than I think we need a consensus from the leadership that this is the way to go, which is not that I want to throw my weight behind the Tim's work here. So
Great, thanks, Nate. Ray, you have something to say?
Yeah, I haven't looked at the PR yet. Well, after this call, but if there are any changes that needs to be done to our page on how to document for release, we should add any changes from this PR to that, and also help also the next docs team to kind of just have them be aware of any changes that this PR might have.
Yeah. On that point, sorry to jump back in. Can we make, if those changes aren't already a part of the, and I seem to remember some instructional changes in there, Tim, you'd have to tell me, can we add those as a follow-on issue or a PR rather than adding those to the existing PR, again, just because of the complexity of the PR as it is now?
Tim?
If there's some docs in there, like feedback on that, like if there's something not quite right with those docs, like, you know, if it's a nit, then we should merge it because that's the rule, the guidelines. But like, I can take feedback on that. I really, you know, if that's the blocker, I want to find out what the blockers are and go with that.
Sure. My one request would be on the docs end. This is separate to overall approving the approach, would be that we add this as a retro item, as a change in the 129 retro for the docs team specifically, so that there's a lot more communication information out there as this is now an update, FYI kind of thing. Yeah, just to make sure that everyone is aware that this is taking place in as many communication channels as possible. Great. Thanks, Ray, Tim, and Nate. Looks like there might be some movement after this meeting, and we'll go down and head on to the rest of our agenda, given it's a little bit beefy today. Looking into the discussion points area now, it is going to be me just for a little while, so thanks for your patience, everyone. Firstly, on behalf of Divya, I just want to note that the issue wrangler role is still open in terms of calls for nomination, but we've had a lot of interest from folks who at the moment are not Kubernetes organization members. And so this is just a call out for folks interested in the issue wrangler role, which is a newly created role in SIG docs, that there is a hard requirement of being a Kubernetes organization member. It's a experience and permissions issue. We do need folks who've been around the project for a little while in order to be able to work independently and triage some of this work. But I've added in some links there around the call for nominations and the documentation on the role in particular. So feel free to have a read. We're still accepting applications so that we can start this process of this role being staffed in the year 2024. Feel free to take a read as you wish. Any questions on that? Nate?
Are you, if I have capacity to do PR wrangling and potentially issue wrangling, are you looking for folks who are not wranglers to do PR wranglers to do issue wrangling, or does it, do you have a...
That doesn't have to be the case. You can be only an issue wrangler or an issue and PR wrangler if you wish. The requirement is not only organization membership but capacity. We're happy to have people who aren't current PR wranglers to help out, so that there is a bit of space for that. But yeah, it's not a
issue. All right, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
Last question.
no worries at all.
So if the goals have the staff for 2024, this is probably something I will have capacity for in 2024. I am like slowly rebooting my Kubernetes life. Like I just added Kubernetes Slack 5 minutes ago back to my work computer. So, but this is something I can probably do. And I have enough history with the project to like not screw this up.
Awesome.
So
yeah, this is
I
something
can leave this charge for you, girly girl.
Yeah, it's not meant to be like a permanent always role. It is something that go in and come out of and kind of possibly do shift work around if we get enough nominations, that there's several folks that can do that kind of work for sure. It's great to hear that you'll have capacity. That's outside of the org membership. That's the only other requirement that we're looking for, capacity to actually look through our 300 odd backlog of issues that we need to kind of triage and figure out the priority of as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you. And all those watching, if you jump into the meeting notes to find, or our Slack information, Slack channel to find further links to the call for nominations and the documentation on the role. Also, just a big shout out to Hari Priya, one of our contributors who actually wrote up the role documentation too. That was really great. And another way new contributors got involved in docs. Okay, next item, just a note that the KubeCon is over, so it's time to get ready for KubeCon. The KubeCon Cloud Native Con EU 2024 CFP closes on the 26th of November. That's less than 2 weeks away. Just a quick note for everyone on the call, if you're interested in submitting a talk, feel free. We in SIG Docs will be submitting another maintainer track talk after myself and Divya gave our track talk for KubeCon North America this past week. And we are likely looking at how contributing to KA's docs could surface good things in the job world. We had a whole 10 people turn up to our talk because docs is such a hot topic at KubeCon, so we're trying to make a lot more relevant kind of content for folks who'd be attending for Paris. Kat, actually, you've got your hand up there.
I do, unfortunately, while I have Tim here. Hey, Tim, that person that said that they definitely didn't need docs and you said that they do, they are continuing to argue that they don't.
I can offer them my Calendly.
They're arguing that the feature gates were not yet added to the release, so they are not yet user visible. The gates mentioned in the KEP are for additional alpha phase. Are we calling that fine?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, people following along at home, you're wondering what this is. I have had this discussion before, like some months ago, and it was fine, and they don't need a placeholder PR because it's the next release when no gates turn up.
Okay, so they've got alpha 1 and alpha 2, and this one is alpha 1, and they are actually fine. Okay, I will tell them we can close this PR and we'll call it good. Thank you.
Thank you for all the chasing, Kat, and apologies to the people who I've said, "Oh, you need docs" via Kat when I was wrong.
You're so welcome. It's fine.
Thank you. Thanks, folks. Going back to the agenda part, just noting that KubeCon CFP for Paris closes soon. So for folks who are interested in submitting a talk, feel free to do so. SIG Docs leads, myself and Divya will be reaching out to a few folks who might be interested in co-speaking. It doesn't always have to be leads and tech leads who give maintainer track updates for SIGs. It can be prolific contributors or people involved in sub-projects, for example. So we'll be reaching out to a few folks to gauge interest. But just as a FYI, I am myself doing a lot of the legwork in terms of it, submitting the abstract. I'm signing up for that, so I will work with whoever will be speaking on content to alleviate some of that burden. And then, as a follow-on for that, our maintainer track session that called for help with several docs and blog initiatives. The specific slides that we used are up on Shed right now, and you can see the link there. I link those slides in the notes here because we actually added in links and QR codes to several of the tracking issues of some of the areas that we're asking for help with around Netlify areas, around reference docs generation, and around issue wrangling as well. So if folks on the call are interested in helping out in any of those areas, we also mentioned blog reviewing and added links to the blog reviewing as well. Feel free to look at our slides and you can have a bit more of information and links to the tracking issues that we have for some of those big initiatives that we're looking for help on. Okay, now I'm going to the next agenda item. It says Steve, who will miss today's call, but who wrote the next agenda point that can speak to this? Who wrote Steve will miss today's call? And maybe no one. I'm going to read it out anyhow, and so that we can address some of this information. So Steve, who missed it, said I came across images posted in a different SIG channel showcasing the members awards received at the Contrib Summit. Have any folks from SIG Docs been honored with the awards at Contrib Summit apart from Divya winning top contributor? Answer is yes. It would have been wonderful to celebrate achievements of SIG Docs members, particularly given the crucial role documentation plays as the entry point for many contributors and substantial effort invested by its members. Thanks, Steve, for bringing that up. Firstly, yes, two of our contributors were absolutely honored in the contributor awards. One of them is on the call today, actually. Nate Waddington was awarded for his great work with reviews and PRs, and specifically around the blog, which is great. And our other awardee was Maureen Berti, the lead of the Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese localization, and specifically not only around their localization work, but specifically around a lot of the process and work that has helped localize all of our localizations basically do their work better. So we did have two members who were honored, which is great. And that's a great call out that we failed to kind of jump into the Slack and push that information out on the day. I'll happily put my hand up to say that failure on my part, as I was part of the organizing crew of the Contrib Summit on that day, so was less in on the Slack channel, but that's something that we can absolutely do for the next time and make sure we call out. And we can retroactively also put that information in the Slack channel too. I'll take that as an action item for myself. But feel free, if anyone's on the call, if you want to reach out to Nate and Maureen to congratulate them. Very well-deserved awardees this year. If anyone is interested in how that decision gets made, it's that the SIG leads talk and we decide based on a lot of what a lot of you great contributors are doing out there. So keep up the great work, everyone, and a big congratulations to our award winners once again. Okay. Abby, I believe you are next on our agenda with the doc sprint that happened at Contrib Summit.
Yes, hello everyone. So I just wanted to jump in and give a quick little recap. We did a doc sprint during the Contributor Summit last week at KubeCon. So thank you to everyone who was able to participate. We had a really great conversation around AI and how we can integrate using AI within SIG Docs. I have a link to the HackMD there where we took notes, and there was just sort of background information on this conversation. We've been having it a lot during these meetings, and we also have a discussion open if you want to look back for historical records of what we chatted about around this topic. And I think kind of our, air quotes decisions around this topic is that it is really interesting and provides a lot of potential points to help ourselves. But we are currently understaffed. So to take on large initiatives like this would be to integrate tools for, AI tools into our bigger workflows, like for reviewing or to help with PR reviewing or anything like that, will be a very big lift within the community. So we're not currently, like with our current level of staffing, we're not there to do those things. So we'd have to do some work to get people in the community who would come and help to do that. But there are potential areas to do smaller scope work, like around integrating tools for, I don't want to say translation. I want to say transcription. That's the word of our meetings and to do meeting summaries. And there are potential areas of integrating for smaller workflows with AI tools. We do have support for using these tools for monetarily. And Robert, who is also on the call, has been very vocal about his offering to help us find vendors if we need them. We thank you for that. And you were also attended that talk. So thank you for coming there. I think that was the big summary to put forth, is that really cool opportunities. It's going to be a lot of work to integrate them into big workflows, but there are smaller opportunities that we can continue to look at and prove out, do a little proof of concepts. So if you're listening to this call and you are interested in using AI within SIG Docs, feel free to reach out. We're definitely open to hearing how it could work. And I will also post the summary into the discussion so we don't lose track of this in the weeds. And I haven't done that yet, but I will do that. Nate, I saw that you had raised your hand.
One thing you did mention, but I want to call sort of attention to one of the things I really appreciated from this meeting was actually the list of writing focused AI tools. Even if we don't wind up using any of them or whatnot, as folks who are interested in writing, there's a great list of tools. Half of them I didn't even realize were available for us. So it's a good little list of resources that writing focused folks might be interested in. So
Great.
Great.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you so
Natalie.
much. Thanks so much. A big shout out to Abby for organizing yet another doc sprint at the Contributor Summit, North America edition. It was really great. I wish I could have attended this time, but I will do less organizing next time so that I can be involved for sure. But yeah, thank you so much. And for those folks again on the call or listening right now, if you want to get involved in terms of any kind of interesting tooling that would be able to help docs, transcription was noted as one of the possibilities there. Interestingly, where we constantly kick out 3 Zoom bots each meeting for that. But yeah, please get in touch with Abby or on the GitHub discussion, which we'll make sure that we link in the notes as well. All right. We have reached the end. Oh, no, we haven't reached the end. Tim has his hand up.
Well, what I was going to request is, could I close this meeting? Would that be okay? People are happy for me to close this meeting?
Absolutely okay with it. Go ahead, Tim.
Cool. So would you turn off screen sharing, Natalie? And I just want to talk about how this SIG and this project wouldn't exist without contributors. So we just had the contributor awards, and contributors are what make Kubernetes, basically. It's so important, and I want to say that everyone is making a really valuable contribution. Just turning up on this video, or really, if you're watching this video and you're thinking, this is about contributors. Well, if you're watching a video about contributing to Kubernetes, you're learning about SIG docs. You're doing what's good for the project. So great. As I say, this project wouldn't really exist without contributors to Kubernetes. So I want to just appreciate everyone. But I also, because we have had some awards, I want to say thank you to Divya, to Moran and Nate. And I made this to say thank you and to congratulations. That, folks, is the call. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, everyone.
That's all.
Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was all very cute.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Good night, y'all.